this this is my agreement or contract with the insurance company where it gives me the complete details. I'm hiding my company details. I'm not showing you the detail that I don't know why I'm showing you this at all. But yes, you understood the point, that I have one contract or agreement with the insurance company that says that it is going to give me some list of features, and based on that contract or agreement, I'm saying that okay, I'm good with this, I'm happy with this contract, and I'm giving you some money for the complete year, which is starting from tomorrow, right? That is what happening, and this is what we call as a contract or agreement between the insurance company and the actual me. So who all are involved in the contract? The promiser, that is the insurance company that promised to give me certain list of benefits and features. The promisee, the who is going to receive the future receiving end, and the agreement itself, which is the terms and conditions and etc., all the rules and regulations uh, in the document. So the agreement between the promiser promisee is nothing but that contract in which I am giving my consent, they are giving their consent, and that's it, done. Now let's take an example. So the insurance company says that if you go to hospital A, you are going to get the cashless benefits. Now here I am saying that based on agreement, I am trusting you, but I am not aware what is that hospital, who is that. You might have some agreements between like hospital or the insurance company, but I am not sure. I am only trusting whom? I am trusting my insurance company with which I have my agreement, right? So tomorrow, if something is required and I go to hospital A and I don't get the cashless facility, so it's like they will take care of themselves, but what about me? I paid for these features and I'm not getting. Overall, it might be possible that some action might be taken later on and I might get some compensation. But the point here is, at some point or at some level, I'm blindly trusting whom? The insurance company based on this contract or agreement. Right. So how can I resolve this? This is how the world works. That is what the meaning of contract. That is what the meaning of agreement. Then why am I raising this question? To avoid all such trust issues, only we have an agreement. Then why this question in the first place? If you don't have trust, why do the agreement? Because agreement is what we are saying, that if you don't give me what you are saying, I'm going to take action against you. But still, if they don't provide, then I have to do a whole lot of work to take action and do all such things. So why are we even discussing about this? Okay, so let's see. The smart contract is nothing but the same contract that we see in the real world on the blockchain, right? So why are we saying it as a smart? So we have seen two things as of now, that is what is contract and where does the trust issue comes in the contract in the real world. So how the contract, the same contract on the blockchain, is resolving this issue, and because of those reasons we call it as a smart contract. Now let's understand the same scenario on the blockchain. So okay, before going further, let's say this contract is nothing but a paper, right? A set of written documents or written stuff. The same thing in the coding format on the blockchain is nothing but a smart contract. Nothing else. It is as simple as that. The same real world contract or some in a coding format on the blockchain is nothing but smart contract. Not even a single word more or less. Okay. Now let's see, imitating what we have seen in the real world onto the blockchain. Okay, so I forget the introduction. Okay, welcome to Namaste Crypto series. Hope you all are doing it, doing good, and I hope you are following all the previous videos in the playlist. And with that terms and terminologies that we are going to use further, you'll get a very good picture, complete grip, good hands-on, and in that manner we are going to complete this end-to-end playlist from a noob to a pro. So do subscribe to support and share with as many people as possible. Now with that mentioned, let's get started. So we have seen what how the agreement works in real world. Let's see how it works on blockchain. So now we even on the blockchain we have three entities because of which we can say it is a contract or agreement. So what are those three things? The promiser, the promisee, and the contract itself. All right. So that contract will be done by the code. The promiser would be the end user. The promisee would be the end user. The promiser is the one who is saying that I'm going to give you these benefits and features. So that is one thing. Based on these three entities involved, we say that okay, you are in actual contract or agreement. Now the next point, the trust issue, how the smart contract is resolving this issue. Now let's say I'm going to ask one question in the real world, is it feasible or not? So if I say that, hey, insurance company, uh, okay, our agreement starts from today, but I'll not pay you tomorrow, which you are asking me. When I'll pay? I'll pay at the end of the year. Based on what will I pay? I will, if I need any services, I'll utilize them. If I don't need any service, I'll not utilize, but I will pay you either ways. But if I ask for any service and you don't give me that service, in that case, I'm not eligible to pay you. I hope this picture is clear. Let me repeat this once again because this is the heart of our complete demonstration. If I'll pay you at the end of the year, and what is the conditions? If the service is required, I'll utilize them. If the service is not required, I'll not utilize them. But I'll pay you in either ways because what you said, you achieved it. Okay. But if I ask for any service that is mentioned in the agreement and you are unable to provide me for some or the other reason, in that case, I will not pay you. If I ask the same thing in the real world, will they agree with me? No. If you pay, then we'll start. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next customer. So that is what is happening in the real world, right? Now, if we try to achieve the same in the blockchain, yes, it is achievable. So let's say there's an insurance company again on the blockchain, and I am the end user again on the blockchain. So I'll say that we are going to have a contract, a smart contract, and I'll pay the money, not to you, but the smart contract will hold the money. And at the end of the year, if you provide your consent that you achieved your whatever you mentioned in the contract, and I'll also provide the consent, in that case, the money will be transferred to you, but otherwise, the money will be transferred to me. Okay. Now, that consent and all will require some sort of justification that why I'm saying if it is a yes, I okay with it, and why it is no, why I'm not okay with it. Based on this consent, the smart contract is going to say the money that I hold it at the beginning of the year from the end user is going to be transferred to the insurance company. So here you see that we are using smart contract as our what, as our law, as our someone who is giving what is correct, what is our, he is someone, he or she, the contract is something that we are trusting now, and now it is handling it in a smart way. So I hope now you are able to get a clear picture. You are able to compare the contracts in the real world versus the contract on the blockchain, and now why we are calling it as a smart contract, right? So we are good here. Now let's take some more properties and try to understand what is a real world contract versus smart contract. So for everything that we do in a contract, like a bond paper, like getting attachment, getting signature from someone, we pay something, like we pay service charges, we pay documentation fees, we pay processing fees, something of that. Similarly, on the blockchain, we pay gas, we pay ether. Now you know what is gas, how the gas is related with ether, or how gas is related with any other cryptocurrency, what is gas in the all. These terms we have discussed previously, but overall we pay the fees on the smart for the smart contract that is on the blockchain as well. So there is no other difference. It's just that it's on the blockchain and it handles some of the more things compared to what the real world contract doesn't do. That is why we call this as a smart contract. So with that mentioned, we are going to write our first smart contract. But there is two things. When you are writing the coding, you are going to do one thing in the production, one thing in the development. So that development is, we can say that is, it is your practice environment. It is your environment where you can practice various things, various algorithms, and come to conclusion. Finally, you are providing the feature and you are delivering it to the production. Similarly, in the blockchain, there is a set of practice environments and there is a set of the production environment. So when we are writing our blockchain, we are not going to deploy it on the real blockchain itself, right? We are going to deploy it on the virtual blockchain. We are going to test, we are going to scrutinize, we are going to practice, we are going to experiment. Everything we are going to do on virtual blockchain, and once that is done, completed, and we say that it is good, then we are going to go and deploy it on the real blockchain. So what are all the environments in our regular coding, we'll say development, testing, production. But on the blockchain we have like virtual blockchain, the real blockchain. So we have different tools for virtual blockchain, different tools for uh, the real world blockchain. So today we are going to make use of Remix IDE for our virtual blockchain for practice, and that is basically a practice environment. In the upcoming videos, we are going to go across MetaMask, Ganesh, and lot of other tools and stuff which we can use. Okay, so without any delay, let's go on to the Remix IDE. So I opened my browser, search for Remix ID, and I got this page. Okay. Okay, it's going to give me all the tutorials and stuff. And if required, yes, please go through it. But we are going to skip it. Just to show you, we search for Remix IDE, and the very first link, the remixethereum.org, will open it, and this is what the IDE we are working on. Okay. So what I'll do is, we don't need anything. So let's open and see the contracts. Now, as of now, let's write something. Okay, then we'll see what each option does. Without writing, let's play for some time. And in the upcoming demonstration, we are going to take each icon, each and every deployment, all the options, and what does it mean? So what does it do? How do we see logs? Please, let's hold on for some time. Let's take steps slowly, one by one. So for now, let's write a small piece of code, try to understand, and then later on we'll understand the whole ID. Okay, because half of the ID you will understand just by writing one simple, just like hello world program. So we are going to go to our the first option, which is our workspace, and let's take any this thing. So okay, I don't want this complete content, or let it be. Okay, I don't want any of this. I'll close this, I'll close this, and create one more contract called, let's say, first smart contract dot sol is nothing but solidity. So I've written this. Now how do we start first? We start with providing the license, and I don't want to remember anything, so let the compiler tell me what kind of version I should write. So let's make some mistakes. So next I'm going to tell what version of compiler or solidity I want to use. So for that I'm going to say pragma and then solidity. uh, I hope the font is visible. Let me zoom a bit. Yeah, I made this mistake previously also. The experience says don't repeat the mistakes once again. So I hope now it is visible, and let me also expand this a bit. I hope now it is more visible, and when required we'll expand the log as well. So pragma solidity, and then what version do I want to use? So let's go to compiler and see what is the latest version I'm having. I'm having 0813. So let's go and write this. Okay, if you don't understand this, let's hold on that for a moment. Let's write something. Okay, then we'll go into more technical details. So here we are going to say I want 08 13th version. Okay, and then I'll simply go ahead and write my contract. So I'll say this is my contract, and the contract name, generally the good as a recommendation is file name, and the contract name should be same, just like in Java how we write class name and file name is same. Okay, so first smart contract, and that's it. Now let's say we are going to declare two variables. So it's going to be string, and then it's going to be publicly viewable. If I don't write public, it's not viewable by public. I hope that is a self-explanatory. And let's give two terminologies. Let's say contract status. Okay, and let's give some more random variable, public demo variable. Okay, demo variable. Now let's write a constructor. So we are not achieving a big thing, but let's try to understand how we write, what are the terminologies, what is the difference between regular coding and this language. So some terms we are going to come across, and we'll see how to deploy and execute. So constructor, I want to initialize these two variables, right? So let's say a string and contract, uh, let's say starting contract status. Okay, now this is not going to work because every parameter needs some memory, so we need to allocate some memory by stating that this is the memory keyword. Okay, and then we are going to say contract status is nothing but starting contract status. Hope we are good. And demo where I'll say uh, let's say Dpoint tutorials. Okay, we are good here. Now let's move on to the next one. Let's do this and this. Okay, now let's write a setter and getter, as simple as that, and we are going to deploy and use this variables, nothing else. So for setter and writer, it's a simple function. We are going to say that I want to write a function, and the function name is nothing but get, or let's say set, what can we say, set contract status. Okay, set contract status, and it needs to provide some variable, right? What is it that it wants to say? For sure, now we understand that it wants to set a contract status is equal to something. So let's say set is like string. Now again we need to allocate some memory, and memory, if you are not understanding, just wait for a minute. We'll just write complete agreement and I'll explain you again in the one line. Okay, and here I'm going to say that updated contract status, not updated but update contract status. So now I'm going to say update contract status. We just set it. Okay, and now we want to also get it. So function get contract status. And do we want anything from this? No, right? So we'll ignore it. Now here is one more thing. This, for it to be visible for the public, I need to write something called public. Okay, if I don't write it, it will not be visible. And we can also go through the documentation, like what's the default values and all, but yeah, that's not part of our this thing now. So now I'm saying get me the contract status, so it doesn't expect any functional arguments. I need not to provide anything to it, right? And moving on, now it's going to be the public, and the public, again we can say, is it read only, is it write only, is it read write, or what? Okay, of course write only means he will be able to read, but yeah, here the when the public is using get, we want it to only view, so we'll say it's viewable. So we are going to see what are other alternates of this, but it's now we are saying that there is a function called get contract status which is public and which is viewable, and it is going to return something. So what it returns, it returns a string, and we are going to provide it with a memory. Now next we are going to say what do we want it to return? So we want it to return the contract status. Straightforward, right? No else. This it should happen automatically, but anyways we'll see why it's not happening automatic. Okay, so is there something wrong here? It didn't even ask for me for the license, maybe because of the version. But now let's go to this and compile. So we are using this 0813, and auto compile is also there. Let's do that. Okay, now we see some error. So what is this? Expected comma but got memory. uh is this not what is it? Expected comma but got memory. Oh, there we go. So typo mistake. So that's why I was saying why it is not colored. So it is retu, returns. Now it's good, right? So okay, now what? There's one more error. Okay, so we see it is saying that warning license identifier not provided. SPDX license identifier. Okay, so let's go here, and we are going to open a comment. One second. No, this is a comment. So SPDX license identifier. No, it's hyphen and then identifier, and then what is my identifier? So the types of identifier, I hope you have seen while you are writing the GitHub code, that is while writing some new repository or something. Let me show you that, and I'll not take more than a second. So if you see on my screen, when I'm trying to create a new repository, I need to choose a license file, and I see that I have multiple license files, GNU, MIT, BST, and as soon as I select any, its corresponding license file will be generated, and I can see it as part of my code base, right? Similarly, we are need to provide something for our remix ID also. So here we are going to say that it is going to be my MIT, and there's no error now. Yeah, there is one error, and let's see what is it. Contracts before publishing, consider adding a, okay, let me zoom out a bit. Okay, let's read. Before publishing, consider adding a comment, SPDX license identifier colon. Yes, we did that, maybe because of space. Oh, okay. So it's just like indentation kind of stuff, but okay, we are good now. So the auto compilation is done. Now what we can do is we can try to we can try to go to this one, and let's deploy this. So we have simply two things. Demo variable we are not using anywhere, we're simply uh, dropping it, but I have written it for one purpose. I'll show you. So we have two variables. We have a constructor for initialization, we have a setter for the contract status, we have getter for the contract status. That's it, nothing else. So now we are going to select these accounts. So okay, where is the deploy option? Yeah, yeah, here is the deploy option. So this is our compilation and this is our actual deployment and using the deployed contracts. Okay, now we have multiple accounts with multiple balances. So all this we are getting because the remix is meant for practicing. Okay, so now going forward we'll try to see how we can use multiple accounts, how one contract can talk to other contracts and all such things, but for now let's not. And in the environment we are selecting JavaScript VM, and you can maybe choose this based on whatever is near to you, but you can choose anything. It's a practice environment. Okay, now I hope these other parameters you are getting some picture, what is gas limit, what is value. Okay, so I hope that is making sense. And what is IPFS, what is this terminology, again we are going to cover in the crypto terms explained. So now what we are going to see is if we see deployed contracts, and if we see that currently there are no instance of this contract running. So if we want to deploy this, it knows that there is a constructor and it is expecting one parameter, so it is asking us to enter that parameter. So we'll say begin. So we are saying begin with the begin as a value, start the contract. So we are now going to deploy it. So before deploying, I want you to see the logs. Now forget the code. Okay, let's clear this stuff and let me zoom in a bit and now deploy. So we see that from this account, this contract, this constructor 0, where this is the data, this is the logs, is being deployed. So tick mark means deployed, true, transaction mined, execution succeeded. And we see transaction hash, so I hope you remember the hash part. Okay, and the from to gas, so this much gas is consumed. Now what did we do that it consumed? We did the transaction called deployment. Now if you remember the white paper that we have seen, for each action that you perform on the blockchain, there is some gas that is consumed. Okay, now transaction cost is this much, and this, okay, and execution cost is this much. And now we are going to we are going to discuss on the difference between each of them. And this is a practice world, right? I'm going to show you the real world transaction as well, which I first did in 2016. And let's see how the transactions were received was shown back then versus how it is being showing now. And we are going to also see the difference between the real world receipt and the actual the blockchain practice receipt. Okay, so remember these three terms that you have seen it somewhere. So this third you should be having, and then we are going to compare in the upcoming video. And then we are getting some initialized thing, the input, and the output is nothing but the contract is deployed, so that we can see based on the tick mark. So now we can also do some mistakes, and we can, okay, I'm not going to cover everything here, but fine. So we are able to deploy successfully. Now let's scroll down and let's see. So the deployed contracts, now we can see there is one first smart contract deployed. We'll open it and scroll down. We can see some buttons that we can play around in this contract. So what are that? So first is set contract status. Now it is visible because it is a public. Okay, then it is a contract status direct variable. Then demo variable, which is again a public, that's why we are able to see, and we are seeing the get contract. So if it is expecting an argument, we are getting the input fields corresponding to that. Okay, so before doing anything, let's say get contract status. Now I can say it's a begin. What is the demo? Where it's Dpoint tutorials. And what is contract status? It is begin. Now let's provide end. Okay, so set contract status, and you can see for every transaction we are getting a receipt. Okay, and if I get contract status again I'm getting this one. So you can see the difference. Let's clear everything and let's see this one. Okay, so set contract status, I'm getting some tick mark, and if I open it, you can see status from the transaction cost, the execution costs, and now you can also see the difference, how much difference we have when we are simply setting, or how much value it is when we were deploying. Okay. And when we do the get contract status, you can see there is a difference. Now it is only a viewable, we are not modifying anything, so it's not executing something, it's just fetching the data. So we can see the difference in the receipts, right? So that was our first smart contract. So what did we achieve? We did not achieve any good value or the real world value, and we were not expecting to achieve the same in my first contract as okay. So this is just to see how the IDE being used, how we can write the smart contract, how we deploy, how we play with it, how to see the logs. But going forward, we are going to dig deep, and if possible, I'll also go across some of the good buttons and functionalities that you can use here and there for various different functionalities. So with that mention, I hope now you are able to understand what is contract, what is a smart contract, how the real world and the blockchain correlate with each other, what are the differences, why do we call the contract as smart when it is on the blockchain, and how do we write it, how do we deploy it. I hope there's some surface level questions which are cleared out. Now with this clear picture, we'll go on to the next demo, and we are going to write one more good, but now with not these many questions, with the different set of questions and a different set of mindsets. I hope you are able to digest this, and let me know if you have any queries in the comment section. And now one more request. So you can follow me on the Facebook on the Dpoint page. You'll find in the description, and maybe I'll put it somewhere on the screen. You can follow me on the Instagram. You can join my Discord server where we are. It's like a community. You can put your question, or you can share your thoughts, or can you share your events and all those things on the Discord servers. You can reach out to me on my email, and we can have a lot many discussions in the YouTube comment itself. So let me know if you have any queries with respect to the complete playlist or this, and about the coming topics, anything, just mention in the comment section, and I'll take a look at it. So that's all for today. With that mention, let's get on, let's meet in the next demonstration. Thank you.